Hi everyone, I hope you are very well. Curtis here. Today this video is about if you find that you have a strong chest voice, or what you perceive as your speaking voice, and you can go fairly high but it has to be really loud, and you don't have any kind of head voice or sound at all. You can't even make that sound and it's like it's just air. And you also can't find any kind of mixed sound or something that's higher but sounds strong but lighter. So yeah, I'm going to go through a few things today that hopefully will help you out. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is onsets, and that simply means the way you start your sound. So it might be a good idea to listen back to recordings of you and see if you hear these sounds, or this sound I should say, and that is the glottal attack, or starting your sound harshly. So you know when we say uh-oh, uh-oh, it sounds quite hard in the way it's attacked, and sometimes it can be even harder than that. So if you were singing something, or say it was a scale or whatever, and you were doing an air vowel and you did something like this, air, you hear the beginning of that phrase and it's very harsh. Air, that's what we call the glottal attack. That in itself is going to make you sing louder. It also, as you go up the scale, might make it harder for your vocal cords to stretch out and to reach those higher notes, so you push harder. The next onset I'm going to be talking about, or the way you start the note, is the one that I want you to aim for if that is what you're doing, and that's called the simultaneous or the smooth onset. So it goes like this. So I start the note trying to glide in rather than smack it. This might be hard at first because you're so used to doing it the other way, and that's also why I said maybe listen back to recordings, because people don't realize they're doing it and it's adding issues later on. If you're having trouble getting that smoothness, you can put certain consonants in front of it that will help you get it smooth, like yes or z's or was. Yeah, I like yeah. Yeah, they help you find that smooth beginning. Yeah, rather than or something that might help along that harsh setting at the beginning is a ge. Ge, you might get this harsh sound at the beginning. Go for something that's very smooth, like a yeah, a where, a ze, it just gets chords coming together nicely with good airflow, rather than chords smacking together, having to sing really loud, and that's the only way you can do it. Great. So if all of that is also still not working, as in you're doing the hard attack but you can't stop doing it, you can go to the extreme, which would be the aspirate attack or the aspirate onset. That just means breathy onset. You start the sound breathy. So we're going from this extreme of smacking to now we're thinking breathy first of all. And what will help you with this is a H at the beginning. These are all crutches. Once you can do it, ideally you want to be able to do it on all your vowels and all your words. Great. So that's onsets. It's one thing to look at just to see if you're doing that first of all. The next thing I'm going to talk about is vowels, and vowels will assist being louder or quieter depending on which vowel you choose. So to stop being so loud as you get higher, ideally we want to go for those narrower vowels, so an oo or an e. Now I will say as a side note, as we get higher, these can be the most difficult vowels, especially for people who are used to shouting, because it's kind of a completely different setup and coordination. So I want you to start off just practicing it in a very, very comfortable range. So for guys, I'm going to say let's start around here, around the B flat. And you're just going to do an E, 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 E. Trying to keep the sound flowing, yeah, and it's not going towards a splat, which will be this. E. It starts trying to be something else. Keep it on E, yeah. E, 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 E. And I'd say for guys, if you have real trouble with this, don't get any higher than that C sharp there even. Cool. For girls, that we'd start maybe somewhere like here. We do E, keep coming up, E, here, 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 all the way just to the A, or maybe the B flat, which is that, because there's also an area here where things might go a bit somewhere else that we don't want it to go, because you might perceive this as a break area. So E is good. Oo, same thing. Ooh, keep coming up. Ooh, keeping that sense of flow and just practicing those narrower vowels that don't really allow you to sing loudly. And you'll find if you try to sing loudly with them in the wrong place, you might get ooh, and they start squeezing. So you only take them to a point where you feel that they're still comfortable. Yeah, because we're trying to kind of re-establish a new shape, if you like. A new shape that can deal with a lighter coordination and one that you don't have to shout with or get louder with. In addition, the E and the Oo do help you stretch the vocal cords. They have issues because E can get squeezy and Oo can get squeezy because they're closed. But if you master them, they are really amazing for developing mix and your higher registration, keeping in a strong sound without going to pure head voice. Yeah, so if I did something like E, I'm not having to belt it out. It's not E, and people squeeze. E, yeah, it's not super loud. Yeah. E, you're not having to go yeah, and that's the shout one coming in, yeah? So those narrow vowels just helping to keep things balanced. So hopefully all that helps. So I haven't talked about head voice itself. And when I mean head voice, I mean this sound. You might associate it with female opera singers, Frankie Valli, Sharon, this kind of sound. This kind of sound is what I'm saying is head voice. There are other terminologies that are used for other sounds that say head resonance or even head voice. Mixed voice can also be called head voice. But for me, demonstrating, we're talking about this very fluty kind of sound. Some people might call falsetto as well. And you can't quite find it, or it's weak and you want to build it, and yeah, so that's basically what this video is about. And I'm going to start off by saying that head voice is really important, and the reason why head voice is really important is because it isolates your stretcher muscle or the flexibility of your voice. So it stretches out the vocal cords a lot when you're in head voice. How do you find it or develop it? So let's say scenario is you try and do it and you just get air. Yeah, and you can't get anything. Yeah. For guys, especially after your voice just broke, this can be really tricky. So I'd like you to find a place in your voice where you feel like your chest voice or your speaking voice won't go any higher. Excuse me. So for a lot of guys, especially after a voice break, this could be around here, the D, E, F, G, even as high as A flat for some guys, even A here. So to facilitate head voice, this is just for guys at the moment, girls I'll come to you in a second. Let's just do, if you think of an owl and they go, hoo, 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 or when you go down the slide when you're a kid and you go, wee, not that I've ever done that, I don't think, as a child, but you know what I mean. And we're aiming for that sound, but I think if you really can't get it and you're just getting air, start with a H and try it on this pitch. Hoo, 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 and it's probably going to start off being hoo, hoo, but if you can get a little bit of that hoo, hoo, don't worry about the vibrato, the shakiness coming in, just the hoo, rather than it being hoo, yeah, it's hoo, yeah. Then maybe try it a little bit higher. Hoo, hoo, hoo. For some guys it might be here. Hoo, wherever. So you're just seeing if you can find that sort of sound, and it probably will start off as being hoo, hoo, just air. If it's really breathy still, that's okay. You can try and to make it clearer, you can just try and think clearer. You can also try the E vowel on it. E can sometimes give it more clarity. This is just for finding it at the moment. And if you want to see if you can find the clarity, you can put twang on it. That's just this sound. So, it just might bring some clarity into it that you can take that sound out later but still keep the clarity. Or even a cry sound, if it's coming out. You just think of crying on it. I'm thinking of crying on it. Yeah. Cool. Same thing for girls, probably going to be somewhere around, probably here, the C, the B, here. It's too low for me to do there, so I'm going to do it up the octave. Somewhere around here. Yeah. Once you've got it, great. Then try and do some slides. Or, yeah. Sorry, that last one wasn't a slide, but you know what I mean. I'd say use slides first. If none of this is working, see if you can do a lip roll, because lip rolls can help you get into the coordination. They take pressure off the vocal cords, just like any other semi-occluded vocal tract exercise. That just means exercises with the mouth closed, basically. Try it with a for guys. Trying from here, from a lower note in what feels like your chest voice, and you go up there with the brrr, and you might find that you kind of break into it. And you go, oh, I found it, it's there. There it is. Now I can develop it. Ooh. And you try and change it to an oo and an e first. Yeah. Then see if you can do other vowels. Yeah. That's just finding it. Cool. And then you just work it out. You can do these kind of things. I'd always say start with slides, they're easier. And then you can try scales. You're going to find those wider vowels are going to be harder at first to get the sound, but keep working with it. What I would say is once you found it, great. It's not going to suddenly now going to change your main voice to go higher without shouting. It's just something that's isolating one muscle that we know needs to be working for the lower voice or the full voice or the speaking registration to stretch out as we go higher. Hopefully all that helps. Sort of the last thing I'm going to talk about is muscle tension and how it affects your voice. So if you haven't got a lot of head voice and it's very breathy, this could also be a muscle tension thing. And the same if your chest voice is just really, really loud and you feel like you have to push it out, that could also be a muscle tension thing. So if you imagine that you've got a lot of tension in the neck that you've kind of switched off because it's been a long time, and it's making the cords squeeze together more than they normally would, as in they need to come together to vibrate. But if they're now coming together and they're squeezing, Yeah. Now you have to work a lot harder with the breath pressure underneath to try and get them to vibrate. And that causes a louder sound. So just relieving these tensions or these holding habits can really make the sound stop pressing together and stop being loud. So simple things like just massaging the neck, just to relieve any tension, even if you don't think you have any, yeah? Just seeing after a while if it makes much of a difference. For most people, it does anyway. If you do it daily and you find after maybe a week or two, you've been doing it daily and you're vocalizing in the way that I'm saying, you're going to see results. So yeah, just massaging here, up the side of the neck, here, here, here. For the larynx, I would say don't massage your larynx. Believe it or not, you can get things that vibrate, vibrators, yes, or just things that vibrates to put on the larynx to ease these muscles. Yeah, they are recommended by a lot of vocal coaches and they are good. Yeah, I wouldn't say massage with your thumbs and stuff like this. You kind of need like a voice masseuse for that, or someone who can give you a voice massage. Yeah, and that'll help relieve those tensions that are making the chords press together. The other thing can just be rigidity in the way that you're used to singing. If you don't realize that before you sing each phrase, sorry, you are holding, and that's making the chords clamp like this before you start to sing. So see if you can add movement before you start singing. You move beforehand, so you keep everything fluid and everything staying dynamic before you sing to stop any kind of holding pattern going on, which you may or may not be realize is going on. So it's a good little test. I'd always say start the movement before you sing, because you're trying to put yourself in a state of flexibility before you start. If you start doing it once you've started making sound, you've kind of missed the point. So yeah. I hope all that information today was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, and I will see you soon. Cheers.